What is up, one-wheel drivers? Today we're going to be talking about creaking, popping, and weird noises your bike makes while you're riding, and what to do to get it maintained to stop all those noises. So let's get to it. So to check your top right here, your interface from your stem to your handlebars, what I like to do is normally on the bike while riding, stand up and just try to put a lot of pressure on the bars. See if you hear any pinging, any popping noises, crackling noises. If you hear any of that, then that's possibly loose from your interface from your handlebars to your stem. Now I like to use assembly compound because that keeps everything nice and tight, and you don't have to over torque anything to keep anything from moving, because the assembly grease has little particles in it that help grab and keep stuff from creaking and moving. So I recommend that for that interface, and also from your steerer tube to your stem. Sometimes you get creaking from there, and I just like to use assembly lube as well on that. And the next part is going to be your headset. Creaking from your headset happens usually when your top cap is not torqued properly, or it just needs to be re-greased in there. The easiest way to check if that's loose or needs to be re-greased is to turn your wheel sideways and then hit the front brake and grab the top of your steerer tube right here and just wiggle it back and forth. If you feel a lot of play or any play at all there, then you need to retighten your stem bolt, retorque that. Obviously loosen your stem bolts right here, and then tighten the top cap, and then retorque your stem bolts, and that should get rid of that. Now if you do notice it's loose, you might as well take it off, re-grease it, and then put it back together just for a peace of mind, you know. Other than that, two other things in the front end that usually creak are going to be your axle. Your through axle is not tightened, so just go ahead and check your torque on that. And on your disc brake, check the torque on your bolts if you have a 6-bolt disc brake, or if you have a center lock, just make sure to check the torque on those. And one other place I see creaking is your actual brake caliper. If the mounts on that, these two mounts right here, aren't tightened, then that's going to creak as well. Now, one thing that I forget to mention all the time is sometimes you can get creaking as well from your actual spokes. Your spokes are loose, or they're not tightened properly, they're not torqued properly, or tensioned properly, and then you're going to get that pinging and popping, and you're going to wonder where that's coming from. But that's usually pretty easy to diagnose. Usually when you're just moving around, you'll hear it straight from the wheels. The next place I like to check, we'll start from top right here, is your seat post. Now your seat post to seat interface right here to your seat rails, I like to put assembly compound on that as well, just so I can torque that properly and stop that from creaking and making any noise. And same from down here, you'll get noises from down here too if you don't assemble it with any assembly lube. So go ahead and torque this properly right here and have some assembly lube right here on your seat post. And how I check the creaking up here is normally you have to be on the bike, and in order to keep the bottom bracket away from the equation while you're actually moving and riding your bike, just just fake pedal, just go around your actual pedal so you're not actually pedaling your actual cranks. Just fake pedal, and that way if you hear any creaking and popping coming from here, then you know this needs to be retightened or re-greased. And same for down here on your seat clamp. Next on my list is your bottom bracket and your cranks. Now the bottom bracket could make noise if it's dirty and just needs to be re-lubed, or it's loose, and as well as your cranks. If your non-drive side bolts right here are loose, or the preload adjuster is loose, then you're going to get some creaking as well from here. So make sure everything is torqued properly on that end and lubed properly, and you should be good. And a good way to check that as well is also, be on your bike, but stay off the seat and pedal standing up. If you hear creaking from down there, it's usually going to be coming from the bottom bracket or the cranks, or even possibly the pedals. So don't neglect that. The pedals need to be maintained as well, especially if you have alloy or rebuildable pedals. Go ahead and rebuild those, and that should get rid of whatever creak you can identify, because I've seen that creak as well, and it's got me stumped a couple of times going, I think it's my bottom bracket, but it's just my pedals. And the next thing to check is your rear triangle for all your pivot bolts. Make sure those are all clean and greased properly, or else you'll get creaking from there as well. And a good way to check for rear triangle creaking or noises, I like to let the air out of the rear shock right here, just completely let all the air out, so that way you could just move your suspension up and down freely, and then hopefully that'll help you identify where any creaks or popping is coming from there. And then just go ahead and either replace bearings or service them and re-grease and tighten everything to torque spec. So yeah, that's pretty much some of the major creaks you could find on a bike. Not that many places that a bike can really creak. Majority of the time it's usually seat post area, headset area is what I noticed. But with these 12 speeds now, I heard you can get creaking from the actual cassette itself. So I'm going to put a picture up here of what that bushing looks like that's inside this cassette that needs to be lubed, and needs to be lubed quite well in order for that not to creak or make any weird noises while you're pedaling. So check into that as well. And one other thing I like to tell people about is check your chain, because sometimes you might actually hit your chain ring on a rock or something, you bottomed it out, and then usually that'll hit your chain first, and your chain will have dents in it or bends in it, And if that happens, your shifting is going to be wonky, your pedals might even feel like they're making noises. You'll hear some creaking or popping noises from that, but it's possibly just a chain. It either needs to be re-lubed and taken care of, or it's damaged. So make sure to check onto that, because I just recently did that to my chain. A little bit of damage to it, but I was able to get it freed up. But still, I want to consider getting a new chain, because that chain did get a little bent on one of the links. Just a little bit of scrape to it, which made it not want to move properly back and forth, which I was able to fix. But still, that fix is just temporary. So I recommend just buy a new chain at that point. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all the creaking noises and popping sounds your bike may make. Hopefully you can find them, and hopefully this helps you find some of those, so on your next ride you will have a nice smooth ride and no more sounds, and all you could hear is nature. Well, alright guys, thanks for watching, and as always, keep the shiny side up. Until next time, I'm going to have a maintenance video that's going to show my 1 month maintenance that I do to all my bikes, which I only have 3 right now, but I'm normally just riding 2 of them. One of them is just my commuter bike, and it's just a giant boulder, full steel, which I do still ride out in these places, and I have taken it out here. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. On my next video is going to be the maintenance video, like I said. So until then, take it easy. Peace.